Where's my intro music? Hold up. We'll get there. From 1 to 100. This is a podcast where we talk about building your YouTube community from 1, that's you, to 100 so that you can make a living doing what you love. On this show, we talk about how to build a business as a YouTube creator in the passion economy. I'm your host, Heather Ramirez, and this is episode 13 of From 1 to 100. Hello, everybody. Yay. What's up? I love seeing the pre-show peeps hanging out. So good to see you guys. So check this out. We're going to start off the episode by me just being totally honest with you and saying that I have a new mic setup. So let me know how that audio is sounding right now. Okay. I got the okay from my production person, Tom Buck. So great. Yay. Awesome. All right, guys. So today I'm super excited because I thought it was time for an unpacking episode, a debrief episode. There's just been a lot going on. Last time I did a solo episode from 1 to 100 was a month ago. And even though it's only been, 3 episodes? There's just so much. There's so much to unpack. And I'm very excited about all the things that are developing. So also want to give a shout out to my audio only people. If you are catching the audio replay, thanks for listening. Definitely try to catch us live if you can every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That would be great. Now, for today, in the title, I actually wanted to title this stream Building a Community is Greater Than Building an Audience, but you can't put those symbols in the YouTube title, so I had to put verses instead. But I think that's kind of where I really want to lean into in terms of the theme for today's episode, because I think that is kind of, that's the direction that all of the new updates kind of fall under. So there you go, just to kind of put everything in a nice little container for you. Before we begin, I just wanted to say hello. Audio is crispy. Is that a bad thing? Or is that a good thing? Because Jeff, I trust your, I trust everybody here, but let me know. I think it's good, right? Yeah, audio sounds great. Okay, Chris is here. Sounds great. Yes. Okay, cool. So I want to say that it's okay. But if it's not, I could totally turn it down. So here's a little preview for Couples Table Crew, right? Tom and I came up with the topic for the next Couples Tables episode. So the Couples Table is a live stream podcast that my husband and I, his name is Tom Buck, we do together every Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over on my vlog channel called HeatherJustCreate. And for this week's episode, we came up with the idea of coming up with a new mic setup for Heather. So, babe, how many mics do you have? I think he has $4,000-ish worth of mics. And he doesn't have any super high end ones. So it's a lot of mics. I can't remember the number of them. And, so there's a lot hanging around, and I just haven't been able to find the perfect mic. This is totally an aside. But anyway, if you want to tune in to fun audio setups and, seeing the difference between all these different mics, tune into the Couples Table, because we're going to host it right here in my studio, and then you guys can let me know what's happening. Cool. Audio sounds horrible. Yeah. This Couples Table topic was inspired by Doc Rock stream. So, and Rob is here saying the audio is awesome. Cool. Okay. Awesome. So let me get into the topic for today, because there is a lot to unpack. And today I'm actually going to try something different and play you a video clip. But that video clip is 13 minutes long. So I tried to make it as short as possible. I actually think I'm going to have the full video as an audio only episode. So I'll explain that later when I get to it. But the reason why we're going to play the 13-minute video is just because I was thinking maybe I can recreate it or talk about the highlights, but I just felt like seeing our genuine reactions and seeing the organic conversation that was happening is going to be the best. It just wouldn't have been the same. So we're going to save that towards the the second half of this. So let's get into the passion economy business model, monetizing off of YouTube, and the difference between building a community versus building an audience, and all of these things. So I wanted to start off by saying, like, you know, why is this super relevant right now and why does this matter? Obviously, I'm very excited about it, but I was just thinking about, like, why does it seem like there really is a new trend? And there's not a new trend, but it feels like the momentum is really, really just spiking like crazy. I think a lot of that has to do with 2020. I think that we just, you know, when there's chaos, things pivot, and then all of a sudden there's like new opportunities and things take a different direction. And I think a lot of this has to do with that. But also because I am hyper focused on the passion economy and the way that people utilize different models to monetize as a YouTube creator. Now I'm on the lookout, right? So it's kind of like, you know, if there used to be something that you didn't even notice, like a certain type of car, and then like when you sit in that car, you go about your day, and like now you notice that car everywhere. Like that's what's happening to me. But even aside from that, there's so much buzz happening in the creator economy world, the passion economy world, the tech startup world. And that's really important because that's where the development is, that's where the money is, and they have a huge impact in terms of us, the end users, as YouTube content creators, right? They have a big impact on how we can monetize. And here's what it all comes down to. Being that YouTube is a relatively new company, there used to only be one way to monetize off of YouTube, right? That was just to be a YouTuber in the way that we think of it, right? So there's someone who has, a very, outgoing or different personality, and they jump on camera and they try to get as many subscribers as possible. And that is how you monetize off of YouTube. The beauty about what's been happening, say, in the past 5 years, and especially like in the last 2 or 3, is that YouTube more and more is a means to an end, or at least it can be, right? So of course it would be YouTube's goal for you to be a straight up YouTuber the way that we all think of when we hear YouTuber, because you're creating more content for their platform. They're making a lot of money because a lot of the money that you're generating is coming from YouTube ads, and you make them look good, and you're building an audience, and you are getting more people to spend more time on their platform. So like that's what they would love. I think one of the big purposes of this show is to empower the YouTube creators to think of YouTube as a means to an end, right? So like if you want to be a huge YouTuber, by all means, go right ahead. But if you want to make a living doing what you love and you love creating content, you don't have to be the biggest YouTuber. Like I will never stop harping on that. And I think that is so true more and more and more. And if you've been listening to this show since the beginning, you've heard me bring this up. Sam, who's one of the co-founders of Patreon, said that they have seen an increase not only in the number of patrons, right? So the number of people who are actually donating to creators is increasing, but the number of creators that are donating at the $100 level a month, right? They're donating $100 a month. What does that mean? That means that you don't only have to get your money from YouTube, right? Even though YouTube ads is still like the thing that is like the most popular way to make money, it's not the only way. And that's like a huge purpose of the show, is to show you different ways that you can monetize off of YouTube. And I think the more that, I dive into this and the more that the space is developing, there's just so many tools to help you build a business using YouTube, but being able to generate your money through all these, however you want to make money is basically like possible at this point, right? Like, heck, Tom and I just launched our Just Create More community off of Mighty Networks. And that is an online space for dedicated and passionate YouTube creators to be able to connect, get support, get feedback, connect with each other, network, all of those things. That was not possible before, right? And Mighty Networks is a startup. You know, it's still like relatively new, even though they just got a huge like $50 million funding round and all of that. Like they are doing very well. But that's just one example of one startup, and there's hundreds more. So that's just a different way, right? It's like you don't have to only make your money off of YouTube. And the reason why I think that's so important is because if you know that you're not trying to get the gold play button, the way that you can approach your videos and the way that you can approach building your channel could be so different. And that's the 13-minute video clip that I'm going to play for you guys, which I'm a little nervous to put it out there. So we'll get into it. All right. So let me show you some numbers, because here's like just an example of this. And Tom said that it's okay that I do this. I'm trying to think of how I can do this. Let's see. Should I pull up how should I do this? I can pull up let me pull up a Google Doc. So docs.google.com. So what I'm going to do is actually show you some of Tom's numbers, because Tom is 75,000 subscribers. Okay, I think, let me show you his channel in case any of you guys don't know what we're talking about here. Boop. Here we go. All right. How's this looking? Can you guys see this? Yes. All right. So here's Tom, 72,000 subscribers. He's got 6.7 million views. That's totally insane, babe. Good job. And if we look at his videos, you know, he gets like a couple thousand per video, right? So he is, I think, what a lot of up and coming YouTube creators aspire to be, is at this level, right? And this is over a period of 4 years, right? So I'm going to break down one of his revenue streams. I think he said this on his podcast once, that he has 14 streams of income, but I'm going to break down one, and that's YouTube ads. So here we go. Let's see. So this show's called From 1 to 100, right? Because I believe that if you get 100 people to give you $1,000 over the period of 12 months, right? So here we go. 100 community members to give you $1,000, right? Which is, let's say $100 a month-ish. Well, let's say 80, right? Well, no. Equals. How are we so far? You guys get that? Okay, sorry. For audio only, I'm typing 100 community members times $1,000. You get $100,000. That's making a living, right? You can scale that. You can, you know, adjust it to however you want, but basically just a general model. That's what I'm using. Now, $100,000 a year is about $85 a month per 100 person, right? So let's break that down. Basically, you know, I say to make it easier, it's just $100, but let's just even say like it's even less. Let's say everyone's giving you, every 100 person is giving you $85 a month, right? So here's Tom's numbers. Boop, Tom's numbers. Let me make this bigger for you guys. Beep. How's that? Can you guys see? Awesome. So cost per CPM, his CPM, which is the, I don't know what CPM stands for, cost per mil, I think. This is how much he gets from YouTube AdSense per 1,000 views. That's what this is, okay? So he gets, and this is just for July of this past month, okay? He's had better months. He really wanted me to emphasize that. This is the lowest it's ever been. So he gets $6.75 per 1,000 views on YouTube, right? And in July, he got 250-ish, let's just say, okay? Let's just say he got 250-ish views in July. All right. So let's calculate this. Well, let's move our decimal, right? So what is that going to be? That's going to be 250, 1, 2, 3. So let's do 250 times 675. Beep. 250 times 675 equals 1687.50. There you go. Okay. So this is how much Tom made from his channel from just YouTube AdSense. Okay. And also, just to emphasize, so he made, sorry, I keep forgetting the audio people, my bad, audio people. So about $1,700 off of YouTube AdSense, which sounds like a lot, right? That sounds like a lot. But I can tell you right now that Tom is making more than he did as a full-time high school teacher. And it's like most of the money is coming from the other 13 streams of income, right? And here's the thing. Because of YouTube, it being so volatile, like you never know what, there's only so much that you have in your control. So you can have really good months and you can have really crappy months. And that can make a huge impact if all of your income is just reliant on YouTube's wins, right? The dogs are going crazy right now because my brother just got here. Anyway, so here's my point, right? Here's the thing that I'm emphasizing. If you have 100 people, right, to go back up to here, if you have 100 people giving you $1,000 or $85 a month, you can get this directly from the people, right? Directly from your members of the community that want to support you, that totally believe in your product or your service, that, are all on board with what you're doing without any of this, like, let's try to maximize as many views as possible. Now, everyone should do this as a YouTube creator and entrepreneur for that matter, is diversify your income, right? You want to have multiple streams of income. But just to emphasize that your income does not only have to come from YouTube. And I think it works. It works if you have a gold play button. You drop a video, you're going to make several thousand of dollars per video. But for someone like me, like I'm never going to get, maybe one day, but I'm cool with never getting like, couple thousand views per video because I make a living doing what I love, which is working with people who are sharing their stories on YouTube. And my income does not depend on increasing YouTube numbers, which of course, we always want everything to grow. But again, for what I'm trying to achieve, I just want to use myself as a case study that it's not the only way, right? So on top of that, if you missed the episode 2 weeks ago with Marie Poulin, right? So Marie Poulin, I wanted to touch on a little bit from her episode because it was such a good episode and she's such a great example of doing the passion economy business model. So here's Marie Poulin, right? And actually, let's go to her YouTube channel. Actually, here's the stats, right? She's got 124 videos, almost 27,000 subscribers. She has a whole business around her specialized product, right? Her premium product. So in the passion economy business model, you are offering a transformational product or service that people are willing to pay a premium price for, right? Because they need to be willing to pay $85 a month or $100 a month for your thing, right? And she has a thing called Notion Mastery, which is an online course / group coaching package. 26,000 subscribers. And you know what I loved about my conversation with Marie is, where did it go? One of my favorite things about my conversation with her was that she could not tell, it was very clear that she does not look at her analytics like religiously, right? She doesn't look at the metrics. She doesn't like always look at how many subscribers or views or any. Honestly, she hasn't uploaded in a while because her existing body of work on YouTube is enough to get the word out and allow her to do what she wants to do. Now, a majority of her leads for her product that she's selling comes from YouTube, right? So she wouldn't be able to do it without YouTube. And that's what I think the magic of YouTube is the discoverability, is the fact that you can connect with people who are the exact people who are looking for your product. But you don't need more than that. You just need the right people. You don't need like millions, even thousands, right? To make a living doing what you love. And the other thing with her is that we had this whole discussion about like, okay, so how do you create a service or product where you're able to even charge a premium? And she talked about how she factors in so much into the price, right? So she knows that she's the type of person that she is a people pleaser. Oftentimes her 1 hour coaching or office hour sessions go over an hour because she's willing to sit there, stay there, and make sure everyone's questions are answered. If there's any follow-up, she goes into a discussion. She offers that level of service, and she builds it into the price, right? She builds it into the price. And if you strictly want to make YouTube videos, like that's literally all you want to do, you don't care about like, being a business owner in this way, then that's totally cool. Respect, right? But the reason why I'm so excited about this is because I think there are so many there are so many people who don't fit the traditional archetype of what a YouTube creator is, that can still see success on YouTube without having to cross these crazy threshold numbers. And that really comes down to building a community versus building an audience, right? If you are building a community, you know those people by name. I think a lot of people here would understand what it is that we're talking about. And speaking of community, my last guest last week was the CEO and founder of Mighty Networks, Gina Bianchini, who was like totally... It was so exciting to have her on the show because I could talk about the passion economy business model all I want, and like everyone I've interviewed has kind of helped me further my thesis, because this whole show is just a thesis. But with Gina, she's at the forefront of this. A lot of what I talk about is like what is like digesting her thoughts and her perspective, because she's been in this space. Like, I would consider her to be like one of the original OG people in this space. And one of the takeaways from our talk on the last episode was community is 100% something people are willing to pay a premium price for. 100% something that people are willing to pay a premium price for. And that's weird, right? Because if we think about like YouTube community, I mean, literally YouTube itself will call creators, subscribers, a community. It's not the same thing, right? Because if you're just following, if you're just subscribing, that's still only a one-way thing, right? Like, we are watching you. But joining a community, right? Being a part of it, where every member is able to contribute to the community. That's like totally different from like, yes, I'm a fan and I support this creator. That totally different, right? Like, this is, our community would not exist. It would not be what it is if not for all the people that are there. And for every single new person that joins, they make it better and better and better. And it's not about, you coming in with this like crazy number of years of experience, or like, you coming in with these qualifications or anything like that. It's the mutual shared passion for what it is that is the shared goal, or the shared, passion project or whatever. Does that make sense? So Gina's episode really hammered the whole like building a community, building an audience home for me. And to me, and this totally depends on the person, because I can identify pretty quick. Like, if I go to VidCon and I'm in a creator track room, I can talk to someone for like 10 seconds and really be able to tell like, okay, I can see you taking the more like YouTuber traditional, route versus like someone who's going to be more specialized, right? And there's, again, I just want to make it so clear, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying that, like, you got to find what's right for you. And what's exciting about all of this stuff is that there's options, right? Like, there's options. You don't have to do it this way. So if you feel like, oh, you know, you're not good enough to be a YouTuber, or you don't look the part, or you don't have this fun personality, or, you know, you've been on YouTube for a while and you haven't seen these crazy numbers, that's okay, because guess what? You could still totally make a living doing what you love without all of that. That's what's so exciting for this. And that's why I'm just like obsessed, right? That's why I just want to be the biggest advocate for this space, because I really feel like there's still gonna be new YouTube creators, right? Like, people are gonna start today, people are gonna start next year, and it's exciting that this is not the only way to do it. And especially like with I don't think that Gina mentioned this, but man, talk about the growth that Mighty Networks is seeing. It's crazy. Like, they've, I don't know, 400% growth or something. Like, don't quote me on that, and I think that they might be watching. I read it somewhere. It's like crazy growth. And, you know, they just had their like huge funding round. And I really think that, you know, we've talked about this on the previous episodes. It's bringing the offline component online, right? It's, you can have a connection with someone that you will never meet in person, and it could still be as legit as if you were friends in real life, right? Like that, because that is now a normalized thing. And I would even say 5 years ago, not a normalized thing. Still very like, you met on the internet? That's weird. Like, it was still kind of a weird thing. Now I think because all of us were forced to do our interaction online, that really pushed everything into like, oh, this is what it's like to actually legitimately find people who are just excited about you, about this thing. And you may have thought that you were alone. You may have thought that, like, in your friend group, you were just the weird one who's obsessed with this thing. But hey, guess what? All around the world, there's people who are just obsessed as you are, right? So let me check in with the comments, because I have been kind of ignoring all of you, so sorry. Hello, checking in. We've got Mr. Camera Junkie, Sam Superstar, Roger, Jeff, Jack, Afsar. Oh, speaking of, Amir Afsar is going to be my next guest next Tuesday, and I'm excited because there are a couple of parts with my thesis when it comes to the passion economy business model that I am missing. And one of them is the like actual small business model. Being a content creator is the fastest growing type of small business, right? But if someone were to come up to me right now and tell me like, hey, I want to make YouTube videos and I want to make a living as a YouTube creator, it's that business part that I need to learn more about. So I'm excited, Amir, for you to be here. And he's a business lawyer, so this is his whole thing. And I think it's going to be really interesting for us to explore the intersection of being a YouTube creator and a small business owner, because that's what I think this comes down to, right? We've got the big YouTubers who are the Walmarts, right? Like, they've got millions of customers, but we're the air fryer emporium, right? Like, we're doing, as Doc Rock likes to say, bespoke, or what I like to say, boutique, something very specialized where we don't want everyone to know about it, right? Because it's like, if you know, you know. It's for the people who want to know about it, who want to be a part of it, and you don't need the whole world to know about it. We want the right people to know about it, right? Cool. All right, Kevin's here, Patricia, Megan, Dominic. Let's see. Cool. Jonah's here. What's up, Jonah? So good to see you. Coffee Talk and Tech, watching as I'm getting home. So no sarcastic comments from me. Rob is here. I like the shot without seeing the mic. There you go. Yeah, I do too. Jonah says, that's my mindset on YouTube. My goal is still to be a college athletic band director, but YouTube can help me grow an additional platform for my school and my self-branding. Yes, that's awesome, Jonah. Let's see. Dr. Sev is here just by 2 cents. Who is this Tom guy? Chip says. Doc, thank you for the super chat, man. Let's see. Cost per 1,000. Let's see. CPM is how much advertisers pay, and RPM is how much you get. This is the worst my channel has done in years. There you go. CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions, is a metric that represents how much money advertisers are spending to show ads on YouTube. There you go. Let's see. Healthy Bearded is here. Checking in. Look at this. Doc has 28 wanted income streams. 2 and 8 are my lucky number. Got it. Let's see. Me too. I want to get exposure that leads to speaking engagements and such for my YouTube channel. Not to have 100,000 subs. If it happens, fine, but not the goal. Yes. Exactly, Dr. Sev. And here's like the reason why I keep talking about it is because, right? Ever since I discovered this, ever since I came out with the show, ever since I discovered the passion economy business model, I've been keeping a close eye on what's been happening with the creator economy. And a lot of the creator economy is not just driven by content creators. And actually, I would say that like it's a race between tech startups and content creators, right? Because I think tech startups see what's happened, like what creators are doing and how their fans are responding. Then they develop a tool and then they release it to the creators. And then the creators are like, okay, here's another way to monetize. So they do the tool, do what the tool is doing. But then, I don't know, there's either another wave of creators or it doesn't happen the way that they want. And then so they do their own thing and then the tech tries to catch up again. And then it's like just this back and forth. So it's been really interesting to kind of keep an eye over there. But here's the thing. Honestly, I think like I have yet to see a platform that is specifically catered to YouTube creators who want to make their money outside of the typical content creator business model of like affiliates, ads, $5 super chats and stuff like that. Like I a lot of what's happening there is still like, oh, you can, buy me a coffee, which is great. I'm not saying that these are bad. But like Mighty Networks is an example of, yes, we can charge a premium product, right? Like we can have online courses in Mighty Networks. We can have masterminds in Mighty Networks. You can charge something and that's a little more premium. I don't know why, like maybe I just haven't like stumbled upon some of these new tech things, but there's so much more development and a lot of buzz around like catering to creators that have like bajillions of subscribers. And I'm just like, oh man. Anyway, so let's see. James and Mark is here. After watching our interview with Mighty Networks, it's been humbling to see we built a community just beyond just our channel. An example is our subs are meeting up with each other without us in real life. Yeah, see, that's like a cool thing. And I think that that's a perfect example of the community, right? So if it's just an audience, then you are just like, as an audience member or viewer, we're just watching like PewDiePie, right? Like PewDiePie has no idea who I am. I'm like a huge PewDiePie fan. I would feel a sense of pride wearing his shirt. I would love to see him live someday, but it's very much a one-way interaction, right? And I think it would be weird to just hang out with other PewDiePie fans. Like I wouldn't do that, right? But But if you are creating a community where everyone's getting to know each other, everyone has like an equal seat at the table, and you're just driving you're steering the ship with your enthusiasm and your excitement for whatever it is that you're talking about, 100% people can meet up. Like, you have no idea how people are going to get connected. And I don't know. I that's my jam, right? Like, this is the thing that I like to do. So that's why I talk about it, because it's what legitimately excites me. Chip says, as important as diversifying revenue is to engage with your community off of YouTube, just as you and Tom are doing with Mighty Networks and Discord. Yeah. Fam, the Providences and sports fans, the community-run team is a multi-billion-dollar business. Guess how many Manchester United, LV Raiders, Red Sox, 150 jerseys I have. Let's see. Okay. So I know there's a lot of you guys here, or a lot of chats that I haven't caught up with yet, but because this video that I want to show you is 13 minutes, I'm just going to jump into it. So let me contextualize. This is a clip from Tom's podcast from Monday. Tom has, one of his podcasts is called The Enthusiasm Project, where he talks a lot about life and business as a content creator. And he decided to have me on his most recent episode, and we talked about the passion economy business model. And out of the 1 hour episode, there was 13 minutes that I was like, oh, I think this is a way to like really contrast the difference. And I would be curious as to what you think. I'm nervous because we do name certain people, but I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to hear what you think. So I'm going to just play it and try not to interrupt, because I think that you'll we can discuss after. But I think that's enough context. All right, cool. So here's what you guys have to let me know. Is the volume okay? Okay. So here we go. Boop. So Gina is the founder of Mighty Networks, where we build. How's the volume? Are we good with volume? I'm going to wait until I get a thumbs up. Our Just Create More network community. Mm-hmm. And she was my guest this past week, and cool. Okay, so I'm going to let it play. Here we go. She said it in a way that like is just, I think this is the one sentence thing. And the approach is that from the get-go, you focus on building a community versus building an audience. Yes. And that
completely different.
Totally freaking different. And I will tell you an example of the difference.
Okay.
This is the tweet. So, this morning I couldn't sleep last night.
Oh, wait, is this the tweet you sent me?
This is the tweet.
I can put it up as a share.
Oh, gosh.
So people watch. If you're watching the video version, because you're so passionate that you went to Patreon or channel memberships, then you'll be able to see this.
I really don't want to, like, throw shade, right? Like, I just want everyone to not misunderstand me. I'm not dissing. I'm not, there's just multiple ways to do it. But the thing that, I don't know, makes me feel a certain way is that when people give out this kind of advice, it makes it seem like that's the way that you have to do it. Right. And that's why I'm like, I got to start a podcast. I got to start talking about this, because I just want it to be side by side. Like, it's not... YouTube is so insane. There's always exceptions to the rule. Like, is there even a best practice? Because there's always going to be
generalizations.
Yeah, and it's different for everybody. That's the whole point. YouTube. That's the whole point, right? So this guy, he is. If you go to his profile,
he's at Raptor the Raptor.
Yeah, he's a YouTube data analyst for 10 million plus subscribers. So he's a data analyst for creators who have 10 million channels. Yeah, 10 million subscribers on YouTube.
Is he from YouTube, or is that an independent endeavor?
I think he's an independent.
Or is this like a Clubhouse thing where everyone was posting their like 5 million followers on social media?
I think he like has worked with Mr. Beast or something. I don't know. Okay. I get him confused with another person who's speaking at Vid Summit, who's also like Mr. Beast's like consultant or whatever, like another YouTube person who's a consultant. I forgot his name too. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Anyway, so The most recent post that he did was remove those chapters from YouTube videos. You're giving the viewer too much opportunity to skip through your video, potentially lowering overall watch time. Instead, focus on understanding audience retention loss throughout segments to decrease segmentation loss. How do you feel about this?
I disagree. Which is, so what we're talking about here are the chapter markers you can put in your YouTube videos.
Yeah, like the timestamps.
We've been telling people to do, and that's a good thing to look at. And even as a viewer, I'm to the point now where when I watch a video and it doesn't have chapter markers,
oh, that's him.
I get kind of annoyed.
That's the other guy I was talking about. Literally the guy who's the first reply.
Oh, Patty Galloway.
Yeah, he's the other. Look, YouTube consultant working with the world's biggest creators.
Oh wait, what did he say?
He said, I always wonder why so many people use them. The differences in AVD.
Average view.
I see you guys saying Daryl Eves. He's also in the same boat, but I was talking about Patty Galloway, who's going to be a speaker at VidSummit. Oh, there you go. Are even more dramatic than I would have thought.
So what they're talking about is essentially you're putting in these chapter markers. Instead of having to watch your whole video, now people will just skip to the part they want and then take off. And so that reply is then saying, why are people using chapter markers?
Can you show it?
Oh, sorry. I thought I was showing it. Why are people using chapter markers? Because the difference in the view duration is more dramatic than I would have thought, meaning that like you'll get much higher view duration without them than with them.
Yeah, and just to even, contextualize this further, Patty Galloway is going to be I think he's a keynote speaker, or like he's going to be speaking at VidSummit.
Mm-hmm.
So again, a place where it's like, this is where I have to go to learn how to be successful on YouTube.
Right.
And it's the total opposite of what we would tell our people. And
right.
It to me, okay, if we think about who these people are working with, Mr. Beast, yes, don't put chapter markers, of course, because I haven't even seen a Mr. Beast video, mind you, so maybe I'm assuming here, but the way that Mr. Beast crafts his videos, it's like you can't miss a second. That's the whole point. It's an experience. It's a journey, right? What's wrong?
Something is causing some interference here. There we go. I think we're good.
Oh, was that my phone?
It was, yes.
Sorry. Let me see. I totally lost my train of thought.
Well, Mr. Beast video, you don't want to miss a second of it because that's how it's designed.
But then for us, like for people who are building a community, for people who are small channels starting from scratch, we all know that when we come to YouTube and we're discovering new channels, it's not about the creator. It's about the topic that you're talking about. So no one cares about Tom Buck.
No.
Until they teach them how to use a Rodecaster.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, who is this guy? Let me find out more. And to me, it's about user experience. I want to provide value as fast as I can. So if in your 20-minute video about the Rodecaster, you could tell me how to, what this button does, why the hell wouldn't you offer that as a way to let me help you solve your problem? Wait. You know how annoying it is when I'm trying to figure out how to do something in Canva and I have to listen to a 50-minute live stream because I can't find where it is that you say that you're going to talk about it in your title.
Well, I keep thinking of someone like Gerald Undone, whose videos are super in-depth and he uses the chapter markers. I mean, sometimes there's just so many of them throughout. Where it's like, but it helps you figure out exactly what you want. And the thing about the tweet that you sent was the replies are interesting.
Look, scroll up.
Well, I wanted to point out one reply that I liked, which was somebody I agreed with at Arizona, y'all. Said, as a viewer, I like to see the structure of the video, especially when the video has multiple talking points or subjects. It doesn't mean I'm going to skip it. It just means I know what's coming next. Pretty much the only time I skip is when there's sponsors ads. That's me. I like to know. I literally use it as like this is where we're going. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But then I like the video. I like the creator. I actually don't want to miss the stuff. If I'm just looking for a tutorial, then yes, I will probably skip to the part that I just need. But if I'm watching a video from somebody I like, I'll watch the whole thing, but I like to know how they structured it.
And okay, so this is why I just feel a way. Again, no diss, but even the way that you offer this advice, I always wonder why so many people use them. So if you use them and you don't know, you're new to YouTube, you're immediately going to think you're doing something wrong. Look at this. This guy's saying preach. Like, it's like, well, I find myself skipping with all those chapters all the time. And now it's like, so you're making it seem.
Well, this was the reply that turned me off. And I don't care. absolutely disagree with this. Fine, I'll put it out there. The reply here from the guy who started it, somebody said, I find myself skipping all the time with those chapters, and he said it's good for the viewer, but we don't always want what's good for the viewer.
Manipulative, yo.
Dude, we're not on the same page with how we're gonna approach stuff.
Like
that's
I have respect. I have respect. Okay, like I don't want.
I'm not on board with that. I straight up like I'm not telling anyone to stop or do it because there's different models and different approaches, but
it's the same thing of like, oh yeah, leave a typo in your thumbnail so people can go and tell you like, you know, oh, you have a typo, because people are opinionated when they share an opinion. So people will say, oh, like make sure to include a typo in your title or something so that, you know.
Yeah. Purposely say wrong things in your video.
Manipulative.
Yeah. That's your approach, and it is fundamentally different from my approach, which is the community-based approach, and that is where you actually do, because building community, this goes into last week's episode, which you listened to. So it's the one where we talked about Jake, and we talked about the power of one, and you can make something that impacts a person, and when you're responding to a comment, when you're doing something, you can create a dialogue with another human being, and that, like, you actually do want what's best for them. If it happens that what's best for them is to invest in your course or take part of what you're doing, that's great. But you're actually trying to help another person achieve something. And if that literally means, you know, like, I've given my own videos with the little, how you can put in the URL, like where to start the video. Like, I've given my own video to people with timestamps. Like, watch this video, go to minute 3.
All the time.
Yeah. Like,
all the time. I link it in emails. Like, here, at 6 minutes and bloody dot, this is when I start talking about exactly the thing that you're asking me about right now. What I don't understand.
I mean, it's just the approach and what the end goal is.
And this is why, like, I know this is your podcast, not mine, but I'm just this is why I have to differentiate.
Yeah.
This is why I have to differentiate, because, like, you know, Daryl Eves, this guy and this other guy are this is how they're doing it. And 100% that is the way you should do it if you want to build the biggest audience ever.
Right.
Like, obviously,
if growth
Mr.
is
Beast,
the goal,
yeah, his success is undeniable. Okay, the guy is rolling in money that he doesn't even know what to do with, and if you want to do that, awesome, that's totally cool. But there are so many people that we work with that literally by nature of their content are never ever gonna hit 10,000.
It's just even personality based. They don't have the personality of wanting to jump out and be that, like, it's just not in them to do that, but they have something really valuable to offer.
Yeah, there are some people who have, like, Logan Paul, like, you're just a
gregarious, like, out.
Exactly.
You're just
very, you know,
person.
Class clown kind of person, or just very, like, you like the spotlight, which is totally cool. Again, like, totally cool, but just not the only way to do it.
Right. The stuff we're saying we don't like, it's not like it's illegal or breaking rules or anything. It's just a different approach that, like, I mean, I guess that's the thing on YouTube with billions of people on the platform. There's infinite ways you could approach it.
And I think that the other reason why I'm so excited about it is because when you look at these, like, that world, right? The heavy, not just content creator, but, you know, verging into influencer territory. I don't know how I'm even making these distinctions in my head, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It makes it seem like, you know, it makes it seem like it's very competitive in a weird way, because it's like, oh, you know, you're playing with numbers that I can't even wrap my head around.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I mean, it just depends on what the experience is. You know, like, speaking for myself, making YouTube videos is a very personal thing. I really love having a channel where I can share stuff that I want. Yes, there is the component of, well, the channel, like, stuff kind of needs to fit in this niche, and there is an audience that I'm aware of, so that means I might have an idea that doesn't fit on it. But a lot of times I'll take those ideas and try to find, like, it's a creative challenge to go, like, well, how could I make this work? And you know, that's fine, but I can still, it's my channel, done my way. I enjoy coming up with an idea. I enjoy filming the video. I enjoy editing the video, putting it out there, like, engaging with people about, like, I like that whole process. This strategy oftentimes a little different. It's not that people don't enjoy making videos or whatever, but it's really much more on, let's look at the numbers. We're doing this thing here. Like, it's just, we will change whatever we need to change
to get the most amount of
to
views
maximize
ever.
these analytics. which is just a different approach. And
right. And if your business model is that a lot of your money is coming directly from YouTube, obviously that's the way you go.
you're just going to maximize the
Yeah,
numbers.
because that's how you increase your success depends on increasing numbers.
Yeah.
So again, makes sense. But
It
that's
does.
just not
But
my thing.
the thing that I like about all of this is that you do have the ability to choose how you want to do this. And the thing that is interesting to me about the passion economy, especially the fact that it can be hybridized with the creator economy model, is that it gives you the control to do things how you want. So not needing the massive audience to make a substantial side income or even full-time income is a really big deal.
Right. So if you want to catch the full clip of that, it's Tom's episode of the Enthusiasm Project podcast. The episode came out on Monday. It's a whole hour-long episode where we really deep dive. But I felt like that was such an example of, like, this is why I make a distinction between the passion economy business model and the creator economy business model. Because the approach is different. The way that these YouTube authority figures encourage you and recommend people to approach their YouTube channels is just literally the polar opposite of the way that Tom and I would do it. Now, I would say most creators are probably going to be a hybrid of both models, right? Because, I mean, I've said this before, if you have a community of 100, right? Or 1,000, or like a really small niche community, and you are catering to them very, like, you know, just you're super focused on each person that's there, and you end up getting it to a point where you're offering a transformational product or service that they're paying a premium price for, it is inevitable for your community to grow. Because here's the thing, you're creating YouTube content the entire time. The people who are in your community are telling somebody else about what you offer. And it's just bound to grow to the point where, yeah, you only need 100 people to make a living doing what you love in your community. But that's not to say that, you know, our YouTube channels aren't going to get into the thousands, right? So I feel that people are inevitably going to have a hybrid of both. But the reason why I felt like someone needs to be talking about this. Someone needs to be talking about the passion economy business model, right? The model where it's not about, let's look at our YouTube dashboard analytics and just do whatever it takes to maximize the numbers, but rather, let's look at the comments. Let's get the feedback directly from the people and maximize interaction and community. It's completely different. And that's why I want to make a distinction. That's why I want to say 100, you guys. Like, that's it. No silver play button, no gold. God forbid the gold play button, right? Like, I don't even know. I would have no, like, there would be, I can't even wrap my head around being in front of that many people, right? Like, literally on Twitter this morning, I posted that that's my worst nightmare to get the gold play button, because it's so much like watching versus doing. And I think some of us have had, I know Tom's had some of this happen in his audience, where if it's a community, then as the creator, you have an equal seat at the table with everyone else in the community, right? But if it's like people are watching you and you are there for the entertainment, like, it feels, there's this weird, like, you know, answer my question or do the thing that I said that I'm going to do because I paid you. And it's just like a really weird dynamic that I personally am just not cool with. Like, that's just not what I want to do with what I'm doing, right? So again, this is what it comes down to. And I think that I posted on Twitter, oh, you know, building a community is better or is greater than building an audience. And there was someone there who was like, oh, you know, people might argue with it or whatever. And I was like, dude, I am not the type of person who's going to have mass appeal. I can't imagine ever seeing numbers on that level, you can be wildly successful. Like, you know, Tom and I are friends with someone who went from like 0 to 200,000 subscribers in a matter of 6 months and gets a lot of money from AdSense, gets a lot of money doing the creator economy business model, and is awesome. Like a down-to-earth, super chill guy, like awesome person. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with people doing it this way, but I just wanted there to be a space and someone advocating for the total opposite side of the spectrum, where it's like, dude, actually, like, we want to provide value. We want to create content that's good. But we don't have to constantly chase numbers. We just don't, you know? Like, literally, if my channels just maintain this, I would be fine. Like, I would be totally cool, right? And as I was doing research for this stream, just to hit it home, I know this isn't what it's about, but Tom and I are always talking about the power of one, right? Like, you never know how one comment, one interaction can just completely change everything. And just to tie it all back, let me just quickly try to find this. And then I want to read your comments because online video, because I see you guys tuning in. Okay, so here we go. Really quick. Look at me, my Yeti. Lots to talk about the Yeti today. Okay, so this is from July 5th, 2017. Okay. This is when I came home for my first VidCon and I decided to do a recap. And so I was recapping. But this is the video that Tom found me on and decided to leave a comment. So this is our very first interaction together. He posted this on August 5th, 2017, right? Do you know how many subscribers I had on August 5th, 2017? I had 3,592. That's it. 3,592. Very far from a silver play button, nothing to write home about, not that big of a deal. It's not, it's a lot of people, right? But in the world of YouTube, that's nothing. And I met the love of my life. And now we do this. Like, now this moment exists because of that one comment. I'll never stop having a sense of awe and appreciation for that. And if you so like, okay, here's another way to think about it. If you have a channel of 1,000 subscribers and you have 6 months, right? And your goal is to just double the number of subscribers that you have, the way that you would approach that, like if that's just purely the mission, let's get 1,000, like 1,000 more subscribers. The way that you would approach that is totally going to be different from, let's keep 1,000 subscribers, but let's get them to do something outside of YouTube, right? Let's get them to be a part of our community. Let's get them to buy this product that, like, is an extension of what it is that we're talking about. We'll help them achieve their goals, like with Marie and Notion Mastery. So Notion is the app that, like, is a task management project management tool. She's got her online course, maybe she sells that. The way that you approach those two things, totally different. Totally different. I don't know if the right thing to do is to make the distinction by saying creator economy business model and fashion economy business model. That's just the best thing that I've come up with. But 100% there's a difference, right? Like, you guys see what I'm talking about. And I can go on and on about why I'm doing this, but like, I find it very interesting that, like, a lot of people in the space, right? Like, all the Vid Summit speakers are saying this. They're saying, like, do you want this silver play button? Like, my profile picture is literally holding the button that you want. And, like, here's how I did it. I took the timestamps out of my thing because, like, what? I just, like, again, nothing against it. It's just not the way that I would do it. Whew. Okay, so let's, I saw some of your comments, and let me, oh, here, one more thing I wanted to share. So here's what I posted on Twitter the other day. I put, you can create content that you're proud of, you can be fulfilled, and you can make a living doing what you love with only 10,000 YouTube subscribers. Heck, you can do it all with less, right? And then this guy replied, right here. Totally depends on the niche though. I couldn't get 1 week's food with my monthly income with 50,000 subscribers. And I was going to reply, like, what? You must be totally... How are you not making... Like, let's say on an extravagant end, your food budget is $500 a week. How are you not making $500 off of a channel with 50,000 subscribers? Like, literally, you would have to be doing something so wrong. I don't understand how you can't make $500 off of 50,000 subscribers. What is happening? How? I'm so confused by this. And then, of course, like, I wanted to go down the rabbit hole, so I tried to see who this person was. You know, helping streamers grow their brand using YouTube. So you are a YouTube streaming coach, but you can't make $500 off of a 50,000 subscriber channel. I'm so confused at this. Like, I don't understand. That's what it's like. Okay, if your success, right? Like, and since we're talking business, let's just talk business. If your financial success, if your business success depends on how many views you get per video, that's a hard game to play. And in my opinion, it is 1,000 times easier to build a community than to build an audience, right? Like, if your success depends on a constantly increasing audience number, like, that's just... At some point, you are bound to relinquish artistic integrity because you go for clickbait. Like, at some point, you just make that shift, and it's like, you know, do you do the thing that probably won't get that many views? Or do you do the thing that you know it's like, oh, this is the one that everyone's going to click on? And sometimes those two things are not the same, right? Do you see what I'm saying? I don't know. Okay, let me scroll through the comments because I saw a couple in here that I think are really, really good. Let's see. Chris says, I love chapter markers for the ability to come back to a video again and again. When I want to view that one portion I need a later time, brings me back to the videos I find helpful. Yes, I strongly disagree with removing chapter markers. It's an aid to help your audience get more value from your videos, rather they skip and then leave. And here's the thing, like, I think, here, Patricia says it. When they have a super big audience, then I agree. Why bother with chapters? Yes, totally agree. Like, if you know, I was looking at the Vid Summit lineup, and I was like looking at the YouTube channels of the people who are speaking, and a lot of them, it's like literally the only female creator who is highlighted as a featured speaker at Vid Summit describes her talk, right? Like, her talk description literally says that she's a 22-year-old content creator from Los Angeles, California. Like, that's the talk description. That's the first line of it. It's not like, here's what I'm going to teach you. It's not like, you know, and then, like, if you go to her channel, there's no YouTube channel description. It's just a different world that, like, if I look at the people that Tom and I are working with, like, you can't be successful by nature of not being a 22-year-old female content creator from LA. Like, it works because you are that, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm digging into the weeds here. Let's see. Let's see. Doc says, I wholeheartedly disagree. Let's see. Rob says, I watch a few of Tom's videos multiple times and chapter markers to get where I need to be. Table of contents and being about to go back to one spot for reference again. That means at that point they seem to stop caring about their audience, but their stats. Exactly. And I get it. I get it if you're, you know, because here's the thing, like, at my level, YouTube ads is nothing. Like, I'm not saying I don't like it, but it's not a significant portion of the income, right? But yeah, if you're making like $20,000 per video, yeah, like, it matters, right? It matters that you do things that it's hard. It's just a different approach. Chip says the problem with using manipulation to grow is that you get stuck in a cycle of churn. It's like companies that try to trap you in long-term contracts and don't deliver on the promise. Yes. I am with Tom. I completely disrespect this attitude. Let's see. Mr. Camera Junkie says, I'm going to write a book without chapters because this way they won't be able to put it down. Yeah, I definitely don't like the not do what's good for the viewer attitude. And see, this is the thing, right? This is the thing because, I don't know, I'll just keep saying it. I don't want to disrespect like Daryl Eves and, you know, clearly Mr. Beast is a very successful YouTube creator. Like, you know, why wouldn't you try to emulate or mimic that business model? But I just think that that is not practical for everybody. And I wanted to talk about this other way of doing it. Oh, this is great. Someone needs to timestamp. Actually, I think someone does timestamp all the jokes in Peter. Sorry, I saw Peter's comment under here. Peter says, hi guys, touchy topic. From what I understand, those chapter markers and the words that are used are cataloged by Google and become searchable and responsive to search on Google. This is true. So especially if you are a channel that's an authoritative channel, informational, tutorial, helpful, you know, that kind of a channel. Well, really anybody, but if you search like, you know, how to do a budget or something like that in Google, then the top videos that would populate in YouTube will populate in Google and then also show you the chapter markers that's relevant to that search. So totally, yeah, therefore becoming another method to be more searchable. Exactly. Patricia says, what do you think about asking to subscribe, like, comment, or giving a brief intro? That can be skipped. So I don't do either of those, like, unless it's organic, right? So like at the end of a 60-minute episode, I'll totally say like, you know, like, comment, subscribe, or whatever. But usually like my pre-recorded videos, I don't even do an intro. I don't even say who I am or anything, just because I feel like people know their way around YouTube. They'll figure it out. But I mean, I don't think there's a right or wrong either. So let's see. Yes. Doc says, just so you know, you guys are my analytics, not the dang numbers. I don't care about that stuff. Exactly. Coffee Talking Tech. Watching this just is so damn refreshing. It's amazing. At some point, stop reading a book at how to be a YouTuber and just be you. Then water it, grow it, see where it goes. That's how I want it. And there you go. There you go. I care about Tom. God, these freaking headphones are killing my ears. Let's see. Andres, love this channel. Very helpful. I started my channel about a year ago, but watched this channel to help build my foundation. Thanks again. You're welcome. Not even polar for me. Them clowns on a whole different selfish planet. Let's see. Carmen. Hello, Carmen. Not everyone has a mindset to give many sheep in wolves' clothing in these YouTube streets. It's about integrity and value. Like my mentor, Doc Rock, always says, quality over quantity. Yes. For feel and not too much noise. Blue, more soft and less clear. Marga, love this. James, I've had a conversation with a creator who has over 1 million subs and interestingly enough said they would want the engagement we see in our community. Grass is always greener on the other side. I saw someone on Twitter who has a channel that's almost 1 million subscribers and was talking about like, oh yeah, I don't know if I can make the leap to full time yet. And I was like, what? Like, I'm so confused. I don't understand how you can have 1 million subscribers on a channel and you're not making... What? Like, how do you even... I'm so confused. I don't know. So here's the thing. Here's, like, to kind of wrap it all up, because I know we're over time here. Here's how I would kind of package the creator economy business model, which is you amass as many subscribers as possible and you try to generate as many views as possible and you monetize off of ads, affiliates, or sponsorships, right? So most of your money is coming from companies. It's not coming directly from the people. Yes, you can do super chats, you can get t-shirts and merch and, buy me a coffee and Patreon, all of that. Most of the community-driven monetization tools in the creator economy business model are all low ticket, right? It's like $5, $10. It's like, it's not $100 a month. But we're starting to see a shift, as Sam, the founder of Patreon, said. They are seeing an increase in patrons who are subscribing at the $100 a month level, right? So that's shifting. On the flip side, you have the passion economy business model, where it's like, it's not about how big your audience is, but how engaged your community is. And all it takes is 100 people to give you $1,000 over the period of 12 months, and you could totally make a living doing what you love, and you're set up to be able to scale that. That's how I differentiate the two. Again, we're all going to come back to hybrid, I think, but it's just different. It's just a different approach. Anita, unfortunately, I started out and paid a lot of money for that type of advice. I burnt out in 3 months and got no support or help on being better. Exactly. And this is why this podcast exists. Because I swear to God, when you are new to YouTube, you jump in and you go onto YouTube and search for YouTube tutorials. It's literally like, how do I get as many subscribers and views as possible? Like, that's it, right? And they shove it in your face. Like, here's my play button. Here is the thing that defines success. And like, I will never... You can never tell me, like, YouTube has already given me my dream life, and I will never think that I need the silver play button in order for me to see success on YouTube, like, I will always argue for, there is a way for you to do something fulfilling, to create content, and to make a living doing those things with a very, small community, and that is not a bad thing. That's an awesome thing. Let's see. Marga says integrity is priceless. That's why I'm here. There you go. Did you go to other VidCons? Yes, I've gone to 18, 19, and 17, 18, and 19. There was no 20. Thinking about going this year. I feel like I should just keep the streak going. Carmen, I hear your heart, and that alone will change this platform in the next several years. Passion creates a revolution. Heather, because some CPM is less than $1. Right, but like, I feel like, how do you not have multiple streams of income? You know what I mean? Like, how do you not... I feel like if you have an engaged community, regardless of the size, I think it'll be very clear what your next step can be to engage that community, right? So like, for Tom and I, we have our Just Create More community over on Mighty Networks. It's $20 a month, right? So not quite your premium product, but like, even on this channel that has like 3,000 subscribers, that would be the next step, right? Like, you can go to the YouTube Huddle Up on Fridays, but if you wanted to get more support, then you can join our community. Now, within that, we have our mastermind that's $100 a month, and we have online courses, and that's where the premium products can be offered from there. But like, I feel like if you have a channel of 50,000, how does that not occur to you to like offer something like that? Like, you're literally just gonna rely on YouTube ads. Now, it's a tweet. Who knows what the context is? Like, I don't know, but yeah, I don't understand. Like, literally, you would have to... I don't understand how you wouldn't be making any... I'm so confused by this. No, that person must have some empty followers. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Marga. Let's see. Some of them started by not caring in the first place. Doc, Mr. Beast's goal is clear. He wants to be the biggest YouTuber sub channel if that's what you're looking. Yeah, and that's cool. That's like totally cool. I just want to make sure that people know there's another path to success where you can embrace your small community. Like, you can embrace it and be proud of it, right? Like, own it. It's not this like, oh, I only have X amount of subs. It's like, no, I'm rocking it at 1,000 subscribers, and we're an awesome community. Like, I was just on Filmtopia as a guest on Filmtopia Live this morning, and like the sense of pride and excitement and enthusiasm for the 1,000 Filmtopian strong community there is infectious. And I just love how there is no holding back that enthusiasm at all. And I think that we're going to see more of that, and that's why I thought it was a perfect time to introduce this podcast, because I really think that after 2020 especially, people crave community. I mean, Gina talked about this on her episode when she was a guest on the episode last week, that like, yeah, we're all connected on social media, but there isn't necessarily a lot of like quality connection and back and forth and two-way communication that's happening. And that's what we need, right? Like, she said that we're in a loneliness epidemic. And like, I don't feel that, because like every day I talk to, like, I hang out with all these people that I admire and I'm inspired by and I'm excited to be around. I won't meet many of you in person, but it's like I wake up and I'm so excited to like hang out with this community. So I don't feel lonely, but 100% I can see, like, if you're just following people and you're just like talking at people, yeah, there's no like meaningful connection that's happening. So there you go. Okay. Yeah, they are probably relying on AdSense, which doesn't make sense. Exactly. Most of these creators have crappy merch. People not like us present, so their merch revenue sucks because low quality shirts, bad for the customers and the creator. Yeah. Let's see. How to embrace your small community. There's a book in them 3 words. I'm absolutely more connected now than ever before. Kevin, we are all waiting for you to start your channel, man. So let us know what's going to happen. And not lonely at all. Yeah. Okay, cool. So it is 2:20. Oh my goodness. It's been a long podcast, but thanks for tuning in. And if you have any thoughts about the passion economy business model, it definitely is an evolving thesis. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. In some future episode, one of the things I'm going to be talking about is jobs that are going to pop up in the passion economy. Marie mentioned one of them on her episode. She talked about a course manager. I definitely think that being a community manager for things like Mighty Networks is totally going to be a job that's going to pop up, because I like managing the community, and we're 50 members strong right now, but I can see how communities that are bigger and have a lot more interaction happening, where the creator is just going to need help, right? And I think that that's going to be a position where, if you want to work in the creator space, but not necessarily like, have it be your own brand, like, you could still make a living doing what you love, supporting other creators, if that makes sense. So I'll save that as another podcast episode. But anyway, just to reiterate, the guest that I have on next week is Amir Afsar. Super excited. He is a business lawyer, and I really want to just get into the weeds of like, okay, if someone wanted to start as a YouTube content creator today, how would they make sure that at the forefront they're thinking about this as a business rather than as an afterthought, right? Like, don't think of it as like, oh, we're starting to get views, how can we start to monetize? I mean, it should all be organic. I'm a big fan of that. But like, is there a way that you can look at it like YouTube is a means to an end? Here's the thing that I'm trying to accomplish. Here's the thing that I'm passionate about. Here's the way that I want to help people. How can we build an infrastructure around that? That includes affiliates, sponsorships, YouTube ads, maybe an online course, maybe a group coaching thing, maybe an online space or an online community, etc., etc. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's see. I think your futures after all. Doctor says, I missed some of this. We'll have to listen to the replay. I saw some comments on chapters. Couldn't listen. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I'm going to try to schedule this one in advance. I'm having a guest who I'm so excited. Okay. So Gina was or is a founder, right, in the tech space. And I consider her to be like at the forefront of the passion economy. One of my guests, mid-August, is in the startup scene and actually has his own podcast called The Created Economy, which you can totally check out on YouTube. But Greg is going to be a guest on my podcast, and I just cannot wait to talk to him because like this is the space that like I am new to, that I want to hear from this space, kind of like how Gina was at the forefront, you know. Anyway, so tune in. I'm going to try to schedule that one in advance so you can block it in, but there's going to be some rock star guests coming up, so there you go. All right, guys, I'm tired. Hope you all have a wonderful week. I will catch you guys later, and have a good one. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.